George, what's the populace saying about Lonzo's summer league play so far?
People are very excited, David, and I know that there are some that want to temper the expectations as far as Lonzo's play is concerned and how it doesn't translate to regular season games. Well, you know what, though? When he played that first game at Summer League, David, we sure as hell all killed him for playing poorly. So which is it? Does it matter when he only plays poorly, or does it not matter when he plays well? The reality is the kid is doing exactly what they expected him to do. He was the number 2 overall pick for a reason. The Jason Kidd comparisons were out there for a reason, and you've started to see it kind of show itself during the Summer League play.
Now, you were there in Vegas, right, last week for some of his games?
Yes.
Just looking at him from your perspective, what did you see?
Look, I think he's got the unbelievable, uncanny ability to see the floor, unlike maybe any other guy in this particular draft. Jason Kidd used to always say that when he turned his head around to get the ball on the break, that he would take a snapshot of what was on the court. Lonzo has a very similar outlook to the court when he's on the floor and he's getting ready to push the tempo on the particular game or in the particular situation. You saw a couple of these long, deep passes. He made a bunch of passes while he was driving that make you say, wow, like, who is this kid? And it's that. It's Jason Kidd. It's Magic Johnson. It's the type of special player from a passing standpoint that we haven't seen in a very long time. LeBron James obviously is in that category. This kid is doing this at, 18, 19 years old? It's pretty impressive. On the flip side, though, David, the one thing I would be worried about a little bit with him is he's still a little weak. As far as his strength is concerned, it's just not there. He was getting pushed off the block a lot personally, kind of pushed off even in transition. And certainly on defense, he struggled some because he just doesn't have the strength to handle some of these guys at this point.
Earlier this morning on your show, you had LaVar Ball on. Let's listen to a little sampling of what he thinks about the price of a deal with the big baller brand is now.
It won't allow them to give me $1 billion. Their mindset won't allow that. So I already know, because I'm not taking nothing less. So like I said, it used to be $1 billion, now it's $3 billion. Their mind won't allow them to do that, so it's okay.
Well, what did you make of that? What else did you take away from talking to LaVar this morning?
Well, it was interesting. He certainly didn't move off of that. We asked him that several times if he was just kidding or if he was serious. Now, he claims he was serious. I don't know if I buy that. But I do think something's afoot, no pun intended, because he's worn his shoes. He's worn a couple of other shoes. He's worn Adidas. He's worn Nike. He's worn Under Armour, Jordan brand. And we asked him, what's the deal with all that? And he said, look, Triple B's is about independence, and he can wear whatever he wants. He's not limited to wearing one kind of shoe like every other athlete in the NBA. So that was his stance on that. The one anecdote that I thought was interesting, David, was we asked him about his relationship at this point with Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka and the conversations that he's had. He said there have been a few brief conversations, but they've all been good. He expressed to them that, Lonzo is the employee, that he's not going to be involved. And that kind of dispels some of those notions that LaVar was going to be hovering around like a helicopter dad even when the kid was in the NBA. That doesn't seem to be the case at this point, so that stuck out to me as well.
Yeah, that allays some concerns for Laker fans, and I'm sure for Magic Johnson as well. George Sedano out there in L.A. giving us his thoughts on what we've seen from Lonzo so far. Well, again, we've seen different shoes on his feet. Started with the big baller brand. He's also worn Nike and Adidas and Under Armour. Yesterday he had some Jordan 31s on. Let's go right back to his father.
Here's the thing, he can wear anything he wants, and he still got his big baller brand. These other folks that got these endorsements, on and off the court, you better wear the shoe that they gave you. That sucks. I know they looking at Lonzo like, man, I wish I could try those on. Try them on in front of no camera. You'll be in trouble.
Let's bring in our ESPN business insider, Darren Ravel. Why wouldn't Lonzo be just wearing the family brand exclusively, big baller?
Well, you would think, David, that would be the strategy, right? You're trying to build a brand. You're trying to build a big baller brand. You're trying to at least have the advertisement on the floor. We know what they look like, but he only wore them for the first 2 games. So I think there was a little bit of what's going on here, the fact that they started to go to other brands so soon. If you're going to hold out and you're going to make a holdout, why not hold out? Why kind of tempt them? And maybe it's because, and I believe that everything LaVar Ball does is premeditated, he thinks that there's a deal to be done sooner rather than later, and he wants to tempt them. And obviously with his performance in the last 3 games for sure, maybe he is tempting them.
When you say a deal to be done, what are you referring to? That big baller brand would be sort of bought up by one of these bigger companies?
Well, let me just take you back to the original negotiations. When he went to Nike, Under Armour, and Adidas, he basically used the $1 billion number. I need to get to $1 billion, and I want to sub-license the Big Baller brand to you. Something that they haven't done before and is not part of their business model. The $1 billion number was just, I mean, obviously at any meeting, that number is going to be a huge turnoff. So right now, what I can tell you is Lonzo Ball is worth about $2 million a year, or an average contract would be about 5 years. So that'd be $10 million. So we're way far off that $1 billion number. And so I don't think any negotiation is going to happen as long as that $1 billion number is serious. Let me put this in context for you. LeBron James has a lifetime deal with Nike. A lifetime, it's hard to figure out what lifetime is. There is a finite number of years. I would say over the next 12 years, LeBron's going to make $1 billion from Nike. So Lonzo's asking for the same thing.
Okay. Tell it, what is on the line here for Big Baller Brand?
Well, for Big Baller Brand, obviously, I think they have not sold 1,000 pairs of shoes yet. They're trying to build the brand. And I do not think, and this is not me from a basketball standpoint, but from what's out there, that LiAngelo is the player that Lonzo is. Maybe LaMelo is, but that's going to take another couple years. So it's really going to depend on how good of a player Lonzo is, which also, that's also going to manifest itself with these shoe negotiations, right? Right now he's leaving $10 to $13 million on the table to go with Big Baller Brand. If Lonzo's no good, he loses that money. If he is good, then maybe he could make that money in Big Baller Brand and kind of be a holdout to the point where Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour feel like they have to sign him.